Let me ask you something, brother. Have you ever met a guy who seems to have it all? Good looks, solid career, a confident presence, and yet somehow, he still struggles to build deep, lasting connections with women. You wonder what's missing? Here's the uncomfortable truth that most men never see. It's not about looks. It's not about money. It's not even about confidence in the way the internet defines it. It's about the invisible things, the small, subtle moments that slip right past the average man, but strike deep into a woman's subconscious. The kind of gestures that don't scream for attention, but whisper directly to her nervous system. You're safe. You're seen. You're desired. Most guys, they overlook them completely, not because they're careless, but because no one ever taught them how attraction actually works. So today, I'm going to share something rare, something deeper. 12 psychological secrets that women crave but almost never say out loud. These aren't pickup lines. These aren't surface-level tricks. This is science-backed human behavior blended with timeless wisdom from the ancient Stoics. Because let's face it, most advice out there teaches you to chase, to perform, to impress. But the truth is, the men who stand out, the ones she remembers long after the date ends, don't try harder. They just move differently. They carry presence. They understand polarity. And they speak directly to her emotions often, without saying a single word. Now let me be real with you. If you don't understand these signals, you're already playing at a disadvantage. You might be putting in effort, texting back, saying the right things, but still find her drifting. Still feel like she's emotionally unavailable. Still wondering why that connection isn't going anywhere. That's why you need to stay until the very end of this video. Because the final secret I'm about to reveal is the most powerful one. It shifts everything. And once you understand it, you'll stop playing games and start becoming the kind of man women feel pulled toward, naturally, effortlessly. This isn't about pretending to be alpha. This is about becoming unshakable, man of depth, grounded in purpose, calm in presence, and sharp in awareness. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to chase validation. You just need to understand what makes her feel emotionally safe. And that's what we're unlocking today. So, if you're ready to step away from shallow tactics and step into the kind of masculinity that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, tap like, and let's begin this journey together. Because this isn't fast food dating advice. This is for men who are ready to lead with presence, not pressure, with clarity, not confusion, with purpose, not performance. Let's dive in. Secret number 1 is where everything starts, and most men don't even know it exists. Number 1. The power of touch before intimacy. Let me paint a picture for you, brother. You're on a date. The vibe is good. She's smiling, the conversation's flowing, you're saying all the right things. You drop her off, send that follow-up text, and then nothing. No reply. No spark. It just fades. You replay the night in your head and think, what went wrong? Here's the answer most men never hear. You were present with your words, but absent with your energy. Because connection for a woman, it's not just verbal, it's physical, emotional, subtle. And one of the most overlooked forms of connection, the kind that can shift everything, is touch. But not that kind of touch. I'm talking about something far more meaningful than lust. Something rooted in presence. A simple, intentional gesture like a gentle massage on her shoulders after a long day. Or a soft touch on her hand when she's talking. Something that says, you're safe here. You're valued. I'm with you. You see, the masculine is about presence. The feminine is about feeling. And when your touch carries intention, not agenda, you speak straight to her nervous system. Not to impress her. Not to earn intimacy. But to remind her that you're not just another man rushing toward the goalpost of sex. You're grounded, attentive, confident enough to slow down. And that, brother, is rare. Because most guys treat physicality like a transaction, a step in the sequence. But real men, Stoic men, understand that intimacy doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the silence before, in the stillness of your presence, in the way you reach out not to take, but to give. This is what most men never realize. Women don't crave touch for the sake of it. They crave what's behind it. The message inside the movement. A well-placed, non-sexual touch says more than words ever could. It says, I see you. It says, you matter. It says, I'm tuned in not just to your body, but to your spirit. And here's the kicker: she can feel when it's real. She can feel when your hand is present versus when it's just going through the motions. She can feel when you're in your head versus when you're grounded in the moment with her. Because women are emotional sensors. They read the why behind your actions faster than you think. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Don't overthink the touch. Don't turn it into a technique. Just be fully there. Be still. Be intentional. Because when you touch her with present seno pressure, you trigger something powerful: safety. And when a woman feels safe, she opens. She softens. Not just physically, but emotionally. And that, brother, is where true connection lives. So if you've ever wondered why the perfect date still didn't go anywhere, ask yourself, was I truly there or just talking? Did I rush the moment or let it breathe? Did I touch her body or reach something deeper? Because in a world full of fast hands and shallow words, the man who touches with intention stands out. He doesn't chase chemistry. He creates connection. And she'll remember him long after the others fade. Number 2, flirting with confidence and respect. Let's talk about flirting. Not the cheesy pickup lines, not the forced alpha energy. I'm talking about real flirting, the kind that feels natural, grounded, and magnetic without trying too hard. See, most guys get this wrong. They either overdo it, coming across as pushy, desperate, or performative, or they don't do it at all, afraid they'll mess up or look foolish. And both extremes miss the point entirely. Because flirting isn't about impressing her. It's about enjoying the moment with her. Let me say that again. The most attractive kind of flirting isn't about proving your worth. It's about being present enough to play, to tease, to connect, to create tension without pressure. Think of it like a dance. You lead with calm confidence. She follows if the rhythm feels safe, fun, and authentic, and the magic, it happens in that space between words, in the smirk before the sentence, in the way your energy says, I'm here with you, not chasing, just enjoying. Now, let's get tactical for a second. The best flirting comes from subtle teasing, not mocking, not being overly sarcastic, but light challenges that create a playful edge. Like when she mentions her favorite food, and you say with a half smile, wait, that's your top pick? All right, clearly you've never tasted my cooking. That's confidence without arrogance. It's not about the words. It's about the energy behind them. Flirting is an invitation, not a performance. And women are deeply tuned into the why behind your behavior. If you're flirting just to get a reaction or to feel validated, they'll sense it, and it kills the vibe instantly. But if you're flirting because you're already full, because you enjoy connection, because you're not afraid of a little playfulness, that's when you become irresistible. Here's what Stoic philosophy reminds us. A high-value man is never desperate for outcome. He doesn't seek approval through flirting. He flirts because he's grounded enough to have fun without attachment. He holds the moment without gripping it. And that, ironically, is what makes her lean in. Now, don't ignore the power of body language either. A steady gaze, a slow, intentional smirk, leaning in with present seno eagerness. These things speak louder than the best written line ever could. Why? Because your nonverbal confidence tells her one thing clearly. You're not afraid to be seen as you are. So ask yourself this. Are you flirting to prove yourself? Or are you flirting because you're already whole? Because the man who flirts from fullness, he doesn't need results. He already wins in the energy exchange. He's not trying to get the girl, he's just being the man. And in a world where most guys chase validation, The one who can flirt playfully, respectfully, and without fear stands out. Remember this, brother. Flirting isn't a tactic. It's a vibe. It's how your masculine edge meets her feminine flow without force. So don't try to be clever. Be clear. Be playful. Be grounded. And most of all, be real. Because when you flirt with confidence and respect, she doesn't just laugh. She feels safe. She feels seen. And that, more than anything else, is what keeps her coming back. Number 3. The power of touching her hair at the right moment. Let's talk about one of the most underestimated gestures a man can make. It's quiet. It's subtle. But when done at the right time, it can shift everything. I'm talking about touching her hair. Now, I know it might sound small, but hear me out. The scalp is one of the most sensitive areas of the body. Biologically, it's packed with nerve endings tied directly to emotional responses. That means a simple, gentle brush of the hair done with the right energy can send a message far deeper than any pickup line ever could. But here's the key. Timing is everything. Because if you try this too soon, too fast, too forced, it doesn't land. It feels invasive, awkward, maybe even creepy. But when there's already warmth between you, when you've built comfort, chemistry, and trust, that same small gesture becomes incredibly intimate. Imagine this. You're sitting with her. You're deep in conversation. She laughs, leans in a little, and a strand of hair falls across her face. And instead of overthinking it, you slowly reach out and tuck it behind her ear without breaking eye contact. No words, no agenda, just presence. In that moment, you're not just touching her hair. You're saying, I see you. I'm here with you. This moment matters. And here's where the Stoic mindset comes into play. Stoicism teaches us to act from clarity, not compulsion. To move with awareness, not impulse. When you touch her hair, it shouldn't be about your need, it should be about the moment. You're not reaching because you want to, you're reaching because it's right. That's the difference between desire and discernment. Because the man who's ruled by impulse, he acts fast, he grabs, he tries to take. But the man who's grounded, he waits, he observes, he reads the room, and when he moves, it's with calm certainty. And women feel that. They can sense the difference between a man who touches them to get something and a man who touches them because he's already present in the connection. The truth is, touch isn't just physical, it's emotional. It bypasses logic and speaks directly to her subconscious. A slow, deliberate gesture, like brushing her hair aside, says more than hours of small talk ever could. But here's where most men miss it. They think touch is about technique. It's not. It's about intention. It's about why you're doing it. It's about what energy you're carrying when you do. If you're grounded, calm, and tuned into her, she'll feel it. If you're in your head, rushing, hoping it gets you somewhere, she'll feel that too. And it breaks the moment. So ask yourself, brother, are you touching her to impress her, or to express something real? Are you acting from presence or from pressure? Because in a world of fast moves and shallow attention, the man who waits for the right moment and touches with purpose stands out. And here's the beauty of it all. That one gesture, when done right, lingers. She won't remember your exact words, but she'll remember the feeling, the stillness, the intimacy, the way her body melted for a second, not because you pushed, but because you were there. So if you want to make a lasting impression, don't rush. Breathe. Feel the moment. And when the time is right, let your actions speak. Because the man who moves with restraint, not reaction, creates not just attraction but trust. And that, brother, is rare. Number 4. The hand on her back in public. Let's talk about a gesture so small. Most men don't even think twice about it. But when done right, it speaks louder than 1,000 words. I'm talking about placing your hand on her lower back in public. Now, some guys might shrug this off like it's nothing. But brother, this one movie, if done with presence, can say everything she needs to feel. Picture this. You're walking with her through a crowded space. Maybe it's a busy street, maybe a restaurant entrance. Without a word, you gently place your hand on her lower back, not to push, not to control, but to guide. Calm, subtle, intentional. And in that moment, you've communicated volumes. You've said, I'm aware, I'm leading, you're safe with me. See, here's what a lot of men don't understand. Women aren't just looking for strength, they're looking for composure, for leadership without dominance, for a presence that feels protective, not possessive. This kind of touch isn't about control, it's about grounded masculinity. It's about saying, I've got this, without ever needing to raise your voice or assert yourself. And it works because it taps into something primal. From an evolutionary standpoint, a man's ability to lead in small, nonverbal ways has always signaled competence, safety, awareness, and that instinct still lives inside her nervous system today. But here's the catch: you have to do it right. If you hesitate, it feels awkward. If you force it, it feels wrong. But if you're calm, confident, and connected in the moment, it just flows. There's no need to ask, is this okay? Your energy already answered that question. It's not about duration either. In fact, the best version of this touch is brief. It's a tap, a moment, just long enough for her to register your presence and relax into it. And don't underestimate how powerful that is, especially in public. When you guide her through a space without making a scene, she feels something most guys never give her: reassurance without showmanship. And this is where Stoicism hits deep. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You don't need to explain your character. You don't need to prove your masculinity. You simply embody it through action, through calm, through presence. A high-value man doesn't try to take the spotlight. He creates stillness in motion. He walks with intention. And when he reaches out, whether it's to open a door or guide her forward, it doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "You're with someone who knows where he's going." Let me be clear though, this isn't about being her bodyguard. It's not about being macho. It's about showing up with a quiet confidence that says you're the frame, not the chaos. And when you consistently lead from that place, she lets go of tension. She stops scanning the room. She starts relaxing into your direction, not because she's weak, but because she trusts your presence. So the next time you're walking beside her, don't overthink it. Just be there. Step ahead. Guide her forward. Let your touch speak, not with pressure, but with purpose. Because in a world full of noise, indecision, and performative masculinity, the man who moves with calm leadership becomes magnetic. He doesn't chase respect. He earns eye-tone subtle gesture at a time. Number 5. Be her protector without needing to fix her. Let's cut through the noise for a minute. Every man, whether he admits it or not, this built-in urge to protect, it's primal. It's wired into our masculine DNA. But in today's world, that instinct often gets twisted, misunderstood, dismissed as outdated. So let's redefine what it truly means to be her protector. Because here's the truth, brother, she's not looking for a man who fixes everything. She's not looking for someone to solve her like a puzzle. She's looking for someone who doesn't fall apart when she does. A woman wants a man who can hold space for her chaos without becoming chaotic himself. That means when she's overwhelmed, emotional, reactive, you don't try to shut her down. You don't minimize what she's feeling. And you damn sure don't make it about you. You stay solid. You breathe. You remain the anchor. Not because you're trying to be the hero, but because your grounded presence becomes the calm in her storm. This is where most men fall short. They hear protector and think it's about muscle, about stepping in, solving the issue, being the knight in shining armor. But real protection, the kind that women crave on a deep nervous system level, is emotional. It's silent strength. It's poise under pressure. It's being the one thing in her life that doesn't need anything back in that moment. Let me give you an example. She comes to you after a rough day. She's spiraling, frustrated, maybe even angry. Most guys, they try to fix it, offer solutions, or worse, withdraw because they don't know what to do. But the masculine protector, he doesn't flinch. He listens. He stays rooted. And without saying a word, he's already told her, "You're safe here. I'm not going anywhere. And I don't need you to be perfect for me to stay." That's what she wants. That's what melts her defenses. Not logic, not solutions. Your presence. Now don't get this twisted. Being a protector does not mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, emotional abuse, or losing your own frame to keep her happy. It means leading with strength, setting emotional tone, protecting your peace first so you can protect hers if she invites you into that space. That's why Stoic philosophy is so powerful here. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, "Control the world." He said, "Control yourself." And when you can do that, when you can stay composed under emotional fire, you become someone she trusts. Not just loves, trusts. Because real love without trust, it fades. But trust built on stillness, that's what lasts. So ask yourself, can I remain unmoved when the people I care about are losing their center? Can I hold my ground when emotions run high without shutting down or reacting? Can I be the one who doesn't need to fix because my presence alone is the fix? That's what being a protector truly means. It's not romantic in the movie sense. It's not flashy. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It's unshakable. And the more she feels that from you, the more she can finally relax into her own feminine flow, because she no longer has to carry it all alone. So the next time she storms, don't disappear. Don't try to fix. Just stand tall. Because the man who protects with presence, not pressure, is the one she never forgets. Number 6. The masculine magnetism of a beard. Let's talk about something that seems purely physical on the surface but carries far more weight beneath it. The beard. To some, it's just facial hair. To others, it's a trend. But to a woman who's tuned in emotionally, instinctively, a well-kept beard is a silent signal. And it doesn't whisper style. It says, "This man has grown into himself." You see, a beard isn't attractive just because it looks good. It's attractive because of what it represents. It speaks of maturity, of edge, of quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself. Because anyone can grow facial hair, but the man who wears a beard with intention, who maintains it with care and discipline, he's not just growing a look. He's reflecting who he's become. A beard is primal. It taps into something ancient, something raw. For thousands of years, beards have been associated with warriors, kings, philosophers, men who didn't chase approval, but lived by principle, men who walked their own path. And here's the psychology behind it. Facial hair signals dominance, denote the loud, aggressive kind, but the kind that walks into a room and doesn't need to say a word. It's presence, stillness, depth. It says, "I know who I am, and I'm not here to impress, I'm here to lead." But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The beard alone doesn't make the man. It's the man behind the beard that makes it magnetic. Because if your energy is insecure, if you're chasing, if your boundaries are loose, no amount of stubble will save you. It'll just come off as a mask. But if you're grounded, disciplined, intentional, if you move with purpose, then the beard becomes an extension of that power. It enhances it. Think of it this way. A clean, well-groomed beard is like armor forged by consistency. It says, "I take care of myself. I own my image. And I've outgrown the boy who needed to explain everything." That's what women feel. It's not just about the look, it's about the energy it carries. It's about the way you stand when you wear it. The way you speak. The way you move through life like you've earned every inch of who you are. And don't underestimate the contrast either. When she runs her fingers across your beard, she's not just enjoying the texture, She's feeling polarity, the soft meeting the rough, feminine meeting masculine, her warmth against your edge. That contrast? That's chemistry. But here's something the Stoics would appreciate. You don't grow a beard to cover insecurity. You grow it because you no longer need to hide anything. You've accepted who you are and you're disciplined enough to refine it. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, then adorn yourself accordingly." So whether you keep it scruffy, neat, or full-on lumberjack make, sure it reflects something real. Not just your style, but your substance. Because the beard is never the source of your power. It's just a symbol of the power you already carry. So ask yourself, am I growing this because it looks good? Or because it matches who I've become? Because when your appearance aligns with your identity, when your outer edge reflects your inner stillness, when your image comes from intention, not imitation, that's when she sees you differently. That's when you become unforgettable. And that, brother, has nothing to do with fashion. It's called embodied masculinity. And that beard? That's just the flag you fly once you've arrived. Number 7. The power of shared laughter. Let me ask you something, brother. When was the last time you made a woman really laugh? I don't mean the polite smile. Not the, "Ha-ha, you're so funny just to be nice." I mean the real thing. The unguarded, head thrown back, can't help herself kind of laugh. The kind that drops her walls. The kind that makes her reach out and touch your arm without thinking. The kind that lingers in her body long after the moment is over. Because here's what most men don't realize: laughter is connection. Real laughter, the kind that comes from a shared moment, is not just fun. It's intimate. It creates a shortcut past all the filters, past the tension, straight to her nervous system. And when she laughs with you, her body releases oxytocin, the same hormone that shows up during deep trust, during physical affection, during emotional safety. In that moment, she stops analyzing. She stops judging. She just feels. And here's the kicker: you don't have to be a comedian to unlock this. You don't have to memorize punchlines or force jokes. You just have to be present enough to notice the moment. The magic in a look, the timing of a dry comment, the unexpected observation no one else caught. Because shared laughter isn't scripted, it's spontaneous. It comes when you're not performing, when you're not trying too hard, when you're just enjoying yourself with her in the now. Here's a simple truth. A woman may admire your confidence, your purpose, your presence, but it's your ability to laugh with her that makes her remember you. It's what makes her say, "There's just something about him." Because life is heavy, man. And when you're the guy who can hold space for the hard stuff and bring lightness when it's needed, you become rare. You become magnetic. Most men think being masculine means being stoic in the wrong way. Emotionless, stone-faced, unshakable to the point of numb. But true stoicism? It's about emotional mastery, not emotional shutdown. It's knowing when to hold the line, when to loosen it, when to go deep and when to bring levity. Because a man who can laugh really laughs. A man who isn't threatened by the moment. And women feel that. She feels it in the way you take pressure off without trying. In the way you tease her gently without seeking validation. In the way you let her tease you and you roll with it like a grounded king, not a fragile ego. Let me give you a moment to imagine. You're on a quiet date. There's a pause in conversation. Then you make a low-key, perfectly timed comment about something no one else would notice. She tries to hold back the smile, fails. Now you're both laughing. That's not a joke. That's a memory. That's not noise. That's chemistry. She won't remember what you said, but she'll remember how she felt. And that feeling, that's what keeps her thinking about you long after the night ends. So the next time you're with her, don't overthink. Don't try to impress. Don't chase laughs. Just be present. Be playful. Be aware. Because the man who can make her feel safe and smile, that's the man she comes back to. That's the man she trusts when life gets heavy. That's the man who builds emotional memory. So here's your reminder, brother. Laughter isn't weakness. It's leadership. It shows her that you've mastered your energy, that your masculinity has depth but also light. And in a world that's constantly serious, be the calm that can still smile. Because the man who can laugh with her, not at her, not for her, but with her, is the man she doesn't forget. Number 8. The power of dreams. Why purpose pulls her in. Let me tell you something most men don't learn until it's almost too late. If you want to magnetize a woman on a level that goes beyond looks, beyond charm, beyond anything surface level, you don't need more lines. You need a mission. You see, women aren't just attracted to men who look good. They're pulled deeply and instinctively toward men who are going somewhere. A man with a dream is not just focused. He's lit from within. And that fire, that quiet hunger, that sense of purpose, that's what makes her stop and look twice. It's not about being rich. It's not about being famous. It's about being driven. Because a man with direction is dangerous in the best way. He's not easily distracted. He doesn't chase. He moves and others follow his energy. Here's where the psychology kicks in. When you're deeply connected to a goal bigger than yourself, whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, creating something that matters, you shift your entire energy field. Your focus sharpens. Your boundaries tighten. Your presence deepens. And suddenly, you're no longer trying to impress women. You're not performing. You're not hunting. You're simply walking your path. And that is what makes her curious. Because now, she's not the center of your world, your vision is. And ironically, that's exactly what makes her want to be part of it. It's counterintuitive, but powerful. When you stop making her the goal, she starts making you the object of desire. That's the difference between a man who needs attention and a man who commands it. And here's something else most men miss. Your dream isn't just attractive, it's a filter. It draws in the right kind of woman, the one who resonates with your direction, your values, your level. And it repels the ones who were never meant to walk beside you in the first place. No need to play games. No need to fake compatibility. Your mission sorts all of that for you. But this only works if the dream is real. It can't be borrowed. It can't be just another goal society told you to want. It has to come from within. From your deepest truth. From something that scares you a little but calls you even louder. That kind of purpose changes the way you move, the way you talk, the way you show up in every moment. And she feels that. She sees it in the way your eyes light up when you speak about it. In the way you wake up early. In the way you sacrifice comfort not because you have to, but because something greater is pulling you forward. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." So ask yourself, brother, what are you building? What are you waking up for? What future version of yourself are you chasing, not for applause, but for alignment? Because when a man lives with purpose, everything around him aligns. His posture changes. His voice steadies. And women, especially high-quality women, feel that frequency. So here's the truth. You don't need to convince anyone to love you. You don't need to beg to be chosen. Just become the man your dream requires. And you'll find that the right people, friends, lovers, allies are already walking that same path. Because your dream isn't just your direction. It's your magnet. And the deeper you commit to it, the less you'll have to chase. Because the world, including her, will start chasing you. Number 9. The power of listening. Why true presence turns emotional into physical. Let me break a myth real quick. Most men think that being a great communicator is about knowing what to say, having the right answers, the smooth lines, the clever comebacks. But in reality, it's not what you say that wins her over, it's how you listen. And I'm not talking about passive hearing. I'm talking about presence-based, ego-free listening. The kind that makes a woman feel seen, felt, understood, without you needing to say a word. Because here's the truth. Most men don't actually listen. They wait for their turn to speak. They nod out of politeness. They jump in too soon with advice, interruptions, or worse fixes she never asked for. But when you truly listen, when you're fully there, with her, in the moment, you unlock something far deeper than conversation. You unlock safety. And when a woman feels safe, her entire nervous system softens, her guard drops. And that's when real intimacy begins, not just emotional, but physical. Here's the psychology behind it. When she speaks and doesn't get interrupted, when she shares and doesn't get judged, when you sit in the silence without needing to fill it, she relaxes into the experience. And that experience becomes unforgettable, because so few men actually give it to her. Think about it. How many people in her life actually stop everything just to hear her? To pick up on the subtle shifts in her tone? To notice what she's not saying? You become rare the moment you stop trying to impress and simply receive her. That's when she thinks, with him I can breathe. Now, let me be clear, this isn't about being passive. You're not just a wall she talks at. You're a mirror, a steady, grounded presence that reflects back more than just words. You're tuned in, emotionally intelligent, focused. You catch the pause in her voice. You sense the emotion under the surface. And instead of reacting or rushing, you hold space. And the beautiful part? You don't need to agree with everything she says. You don't need to solve anything. You just need to be fully there with your phone down, your eyes locked in, and your energy steady. This is Stoic leadership in practice. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, be loud. He said, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. And one of the most powerful ways to lead with quiet strength is to simply listen deeper than most men ever do. Because in those moments when she feels understood without being handled, something shifts. She doesn't just like you more. She starts to trust you. And from trust comes attraction, the real kind, the kind that's not skin deep. You become the man who gets access, not because you tried harder, but because you stayed still while she unfolded. So ask yourself, do I really listen? Do I notice what's unspoken? Can I sit in her emotion without making it about me? Because that skill, brother, is rarer than abs, money, or witty conversation. It's spiritual composure. It's what makes her choose you not just with her mind, but with her body. Because when a woman feels heard fully, deeply, patiently, she doesn't forget that. She craves it, not because you gave her advice, but because you gave her peace. Number 10. Spontaneity. How strategic surprise keeps the spark alive. Brothers, let's finish this series with the one ingredient that flips predictable into unforgettable. Spontaneity. Now, I'm not talking about reckless chaos or random impulse. I'm talking about the art of controlled surprise, the kind that keeps her guessing while still trusting your leadership. Because here's the truth most men overlook. Consistency makes her feel safe. Unpredictability makes her feel alive. Blend the two, and you create polarity, that electric tension between masculine and feminine energy that never gets old. Think back to the moments you remember most in life. Were they the perfectly planned days? Or the midnight detours? The unplanned road trips? The let's do it because we can decisions? Exactly. Women are wired the same way. They crave the comfort of a grounded man and the thrill of the unexpected. When you deliver both, you stop being just a boyfriend, you become an experience. From a psychological standpoint, novelty triggers dopamine, the brain's pay attention chemical. But too much randomness? That fries her nervous system. The sweet spot is structured spontaneity. She never quite knows what's next, but she knows you've got it handled. That's the difference between a boy seeking excitement and a man creating it. Boy energy, impulsive, scattered, hopes things work out. Man energy, intentional, observant, turns the ordinary into an adventure without losing the frame. Practical ways to inject spontaneity. 1. Change the micro-routine. Instead of the usual dinner spot, text her, wear something comfy, I'm stealing you for sunset tacos by the pier. Same meal, new setting, new memory. 2. Add a mini quest. On a lazy Sunday, ask, ever tried kayaking under a full moon? Book it. The story writes itself. 3. Flip the script mid-date. Halfway through coffee, you say, let's take the scenic route home. You see a street musician. You dance with her for 30 seconds. No plan, just presence. Notice every example is small, doable, and still responsible. That's key. Spontaneity is crafted freedom, not abandoned responsibility. Stability first, spark second. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's our filter. Your surprises should amplify her life, not derail it. So before the unexpected gesture, check your motive. Is it rooted in ego? You're bored, need validation. Or rooted in growth? You want to create shared joy and deeper connection. If it's the latter, pull the trigger, becoming the man who's stable yet surprising. Ask yourself, do I plan every minute because I fear losing control? Do I wing everything because I fear commitment? Or do I balance structure with sparks that keep us both awake? The sweet spot is order plus edge. You keep your word, show up on time, pay your bills, order. But you'll also pull her into a bookstore at 9 p.m. just to ask, pick the first travel guide you touch, we're going there next spring. Edge. That polarity is addictive. Why she'll keep choosing you. When she never quite knows what inspired idea you'll bring yet always trusts your grounding, 2 things happen. 1. Respect deepens. She sees a man who masters both discipline and play. 2. Attraction intensifies. Her feminine energy can relax and flow, knowing your masculine structure can handle the waves. Result? You become a living antidote to the monotony most relationships slide into after the honeymoon phase. Tonight, do one spontaneous thing with intent. Write a playful note and slide it into her purse. Book tickets to a concert she mentioned once months ago. Drive a different route, stop for roadside ice cream, and talk about childhood dreams. Tiny disruptions, massive impact. Remember, you're not seeking chaos. You're gifting aliveness. And a woman who feels alive next to you won't look elsewhere for excitement. Number 11. The art of slowness. Why moving with intention makes you irresistible. Let's get real for a second. In a world obsessed with speed, quick replies, fast swipes, instant gratification, a slow man stands out. Not because he's lazy, not because he's unsure, but because every move he makes has weight. And that is magnetic. You see, we've been sold this lie that faster is better. That if you don't text her back in 5 minutes, she'll lose interest. That you've got to rush in, impress her, make your move, get your outcome. But here's the truth. Women feel attraction in the space between your actions. And when you slow down with intention, you create a kind of tension that most men never even touch. Slowness is not equal to indecision. It's inner mastery. Let's be clear. This isn't about hesitation or being passive. This is about the kind of slowness that signals control. Like a man who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't chase chaos, who speaks, walks, even looks like he meant to. Every word has gravity. Every step has reason. Every pause has power. That's stoicism in motion. Not being dragged by emotion, but directing your emotion like a seasoned general commands an army. Why women feel it, even if they can't explain it. Here's where the psychology gets real. When a man slows down his page's words, his reactions, his touch, it signals something primal. I'm not ruled by urgency. I choose. That energy creates anticipation. And anticipation builds desire. Ever noticed how a slow glance across the room can feel more intimate than 1,000 words? Or how a delayed, text thoughtful, intentional, grounded hits harder than a fast, forgettable one? It's not game playing. It's rhythm. And rhythm is everything in attraction. Practical ways to embrace slowness. 1. Pause before you speak. Let silence carry weight. Don't rush to fill every gap. 2. Respond. Don't react. When she texts, don't panic. Take a moment. Think, then reply with depth, not just speed. 3. Move like you're already where you need to be. Walk slower. Hold eye contact. Let her feel your pace and trust in it. 4. Touch with presence. A slow hand on her lower back speaks volumes more than a rushed grab. She doesn't just feel your hand, she feels your energy. The power of inner stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This isn't just about ethics, it's about deliberate action. Slowness is the language of men who don't need to rush because they've already chosen their direction. And that's what makes women feel safe. When you slow down, not because you're confused, but because you're certain, you create trust. And from trust comes openness. And from openness comes connection. Be the storm that moves quietly. You want to stand out in today's dating world? Don't yell. Don't rush. Don't chase. Move slowly, with certainty, with presence. Because in a world that's speeding out of control, a man who takes his time, who owns each second like it matters, isn't just attractive. He's unforgettable. So, brother, slow it down. Let her feel every word you speak, every glance you give, every pause you choose. Because in the space between, that's where real attraction lives. Number 12. The magnetic silence. Why? Saying nothing speaks the loudest. Let me ask you something, brother. When was the last time you sat in silence and didn't rush to fill it? Most men fear silence. They scramble for words, punchlines, stories, anything to avoid the stillness. Because in that stillness, they feel exposed, unsure, unseen. But here's the truth no one tells you. The right kind of silence doesn't create disconnection, it creates depth. Especially with women. Because women don't just hear with their ears, they feel with their entire nervous system. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer isn't a clever response. It's your presence, sizzlant, grounded, unwavering. Let's break this down psychologically. Most men equate value with action. If I'm talking, I'm contributing. If I stay quiet, I'll lose her attention. But what if I told you that the opposite is often true? When you speak less but mean more, you create a gravity that pulls her in. Think about it. A deep look after she shares something vulnerable. A quiet nod that says, "I hear you." A moment of eye contact that lingers a second longer than expected. These aren't empty pauses. They're signals. Signals that say, "I'm here. I don't need to impress you. I'm not afraid of this moment." You ever notice how people reveal more when you simply let them be? When you're not jumping in to relate? When you're not offering advice too soon? When you just stay still and receive what she's offering? That's magnetic. Because in those quiet spaces, she doesn't just hear herself, she feels herself. And the man who gives her that mirror? He becomes unforgettable. The Stoics mastered this long ago. They didn't just teach restraint in words. They lived it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself." Why? Because silence reveals power. It shows you're not reactive. You're not performative. You don't need to fill the void with ego. You are the presence that fills the room. Here are moments where your silence becomes strength. When she's emotional, don't fix, don't analyze. Let her feel. Be the calm eye of the storm. After a deep confession, resist the urge to explain. Sometimes, a pause says more than reassurance ever could. During tension, instead of escalating, you breathe. You observe. You wait. That's emotional composure, and it speaks volumes. Brother, the man who knows when not to speak, he's dangerous in the best way. Because she's used to men chasing, talking, over-explaining. She's not used to a man who listens with his eyes. who makes her feel safe without saying a word, who knows when to stop and just be. That man becomes her anchor. And not because he talked his way into her heart, but because his silence gave her the space to open hers. Next time you're with her, treat this. When she's done sharing, don't immediately reply. Just sit, look, let the moment breathe. You'll feel the tension rise, but so will the connection. Because silence, real, grounded, masculine silence, isn't absence, it's presence. And in a noisy world full of performers, the man who speaks with silence, he becomes the one she remembers long after the words are gone. Become the man she can't forget. Let me be clear, brother. What you've just heard isn't some pickup routine. This isn't a trick to win her over. This is about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to chase, because who he is speaks louder than any strategy. These 12 psychological triggers, they're not tools to manipulate. They're mirrors reflecting back to you the kind of man you already are, or are meant to become. A man of presence, a man of stillness, a man who understands women not just with his words, but with his energy, his timing, and his intention. Attraction isn't performance, it's alignment. When you stop trying to perform, when you start leading from self-awareness, emotional control, and inner purpose, something profound happens. You don't just attract a woman, you earn her respect. You inspire her trust. You create a connection that doesn't burn fast and fade out, but one that burns slow and steady with depth. And here's the secret most men miss. Women don't remember what you said. They remember how they felt in your presence. Were you calm, or were you seeking approval? Were you grounded, or did your energy feel desperate? Were you truly listening, or just waiting to speak? Be the standard, not the game player. This world will tell you to adapt, to hustle, to become more charming, more clever, more alpha. But I challenge you to do something far more powerful. Be the standard, not the man who plays the game, the man who rewrites the rules. You don't need to compete in the chaos if you are the calm in the storm. You don't need to speak louder if your silence carries weight. You don't need to seek validation if your life already speaks for itself. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Depth over dopamine. This isn't fast food advice. This is for men who are tired of the noise, tired of shallow connections, tired of quick fixes. This is for men who want more, but not more noise. More truth, more clarity, more alignment between what they feel, what they value, and how they show up in every relationship. So if you're that man, if something in your soul resonated with what we've uncovered here, then you already know the next step isn't in chasing her attention. It's in elevating your own standard. Because the man who stands in his presence, the man who owns his silence, his purpose, and his emotional gravity, that man doesn't just attract a woman, he becomes unforgettable. So share this with someone who needs it today. Not for views, not for likes, but because someone out there is one insight away from changing the way they show up forever. And if you found a sense of peace in this message, follow us to keep receiving ancient wisdom for modern life. Thank you for being part of Ancient Stoic Secrets.